Hi everyone, today I'm going to talk about one of the 50 states in the United States. And the states I'm going to talk about is Alabama. So, let's get into that. So Alabama, it was located in the eastern and south central of the United States. And later I'm going to give you a picture so that you can see that closer. And it is ranked 29th in size among all states. Some say that it's 28th in size, but I'm going to take it 29. It is also near the Gulf of Mexico, and it really often has hurricanes. So a famous hurricane called Hurricane Katrina also hit it, which caused 2 deaths and a lot of power outages. So now I'm going to give you a closer look. Here is Alabama. It's the red state here. And this is the United States, including Alaska. And this is a closer look of Alabama. Okay. So it is surrounded by Florida, which is the state here, Georgia here, Tennessee, which is the small state here, and last of all, Mississippi. Okay, so let's get going. And this is an overview of the Gulf of Mexico. So this is the Gulf of Mexico, and Alabama is here. And here's its surrounding states. And here's a closer look. So Alabama is right here, and this is a closer look. This is the deepest part, and this is the one that's not so deep, including in the color. Okay, so now I'm going to talk about the symbols and other things about Alabama. So Alabama is nicknamed the Heart of Dixie. In the history, it was nicknamed another name, and it's in the past it's called Cotton State, and I'm going to tell you why later. Its capital is Montgomery, and so Montgomery is not the state that the city that many people would live in. It's not the kind of the largest city with the most people, but it is the capital. And it entered the Union, the United States, in 14th December 1819. So it's the 22nd that enters the Union. And the flag is a crimson cross of St. Andrew on a square white field. So imagine it like this. I'm gonna get a piece of paper. So it's a square white field, like that, and there is a red cross. But since I don't have a red pen here, I'm just gonna use a black one. Imagine, okay? So it's kind of like a red cross like this, in red in a white field. So its motto is "We dare defend our rights," and the state flower is camellia. The state tree is the southern longleaf pine, which you can see a picture here. The bird is a yellow hammer. This is a crime. And the fish is called a tarpon, right here. So this is about Alabama's history. Alabama is famous for civil rights movement, and many of famous faces of civil rights movements like Martin Luther King or Rosa Parks. And it's also known during this time for the Montgomery boycott and other movements during the civil rights time. And during this time, Alabama was even nicknamed Cotton State because there are many farmers, so many black slaves that they're farmers. They grow a lot of cotton, so it was nicknamed Cotton State during the time. And about the weather, Alabama have an average of 26 degrees Celsius in the summer and 9 degrees Celsius in the winter, which is about average, right? Quite warm. And here is the population of major cities. So Birmingham is the one that has the highest number. It's about 212,038 people. And Montgomery is the next one, Mobile, Huntsville, and the one that have the smallest number of people in the city is Tuscaloosa, which is 93,357 people. So the people that are here, about 44.9 people live in the rural. So rural are areas where they farm a lot, and yeah, there are not a lot of tall buildings, basically like that. And urban, it's about 55.1. So urban is like the city. That's the city that we've seen before. And about races and ethnic groups, so there's a lot here. The white, which is just normal Americans, white, take a very large piece of cake. This is we call a cake diagram kind of thing. And it is 70% of our cake here. The black or African American, which is American but with black skin, there are about 26.5, this medium piece of cake. And in here, the very tiny red piece of cake here is the American Indian or Alaska Native. Mm-hmm. The really small blue piece of cake here is the Asian. Mm-hmm. And I think there is a tiny piece of cake here. It's 0.1, and I can't see it really, but it's Native Hawaiian and Pacific Islander. And this purple piece of cake here is the different ethnic groups. And this is race and ethnicity. This is not Hispanic or Latino. It's about 95.9. Really big piece of cake. And the small blue cake here is the Hispanic or Latino. And about the industry and resources, you can see here we have our keywords or key content. So how do these keys work? So for example, let me see. Oh, I found this white picture, and it represents cotton. So in the map, where you see these picture is going to be where the cotton grew at. Before we talk about all of that, let's talk about the land. So this is farmland, quite a lot. This is forests, a lot too. See, these are these dark green parts. The grazing, I think the grazing is where you basically put your cows and stuff here. And urban, this is like a very small part in the map. And the other picture you see here is representing keywords. So manufacturing, you can see two of these here. One, I guess, near the urban and forest here, and the other in the urban. And cattle. So they probably have a lot of cattle here because it was the grazing place. So yeah. And they also grow peanuts. Oh, that's a lot of peanuts. But you can see the fruits, the vegetable and different things that are not cotton are only grew in certain places. So you see the peanuts are only grew here. But the vegetable and carrots, they grow up here. So I guess different parts are better for different types of resources to be grown. And there are one oil mining station here. I think they have a hand or something that, so for example, the oil is under the land, and I guess they have a hand or something, and they just get the oil from under the land. And fishing, so of course we can only fish in the coast, so there are only one fishing area, and another industries one. So again, we have a cake diagram. It's not the thing that you eat. And so these are different industries in Alabama. So you can see here, there's a lot, and each have quite a big piece of cake. Okay? So services have the biggest. these are like massage center, hospitals, and stuff. And manufacturing also can have a very big cake. So you see, manufacturing just kind of helps. You make cars and buses and just blah blah. And the government is this one, this purple cake. I'm not really sure what the government actually do. I don't think they rule Alabama, but not sure. And this one is finance, insurance, and real estate. So it's the land and stuff. And yeah, it's not a big piece of cake either. And this one is wholesale and retail trade. So, for example, I'm not sure if Alabama grow this fruit, but I'm just gonna say, for example, your state has a banana, but your state did not have an apple. So you're gonna trade with other states or trade with other places within your state that may have that kind. And this is when the trades come in, and construction. It's quite important in the urban, and I think most of the construction thing here is in urban areas, because that's where you have to build stuff. Transportation and utilities, not quite a big piece of cake. And the smallest one is for agriculture, forestry, fishing, and hunting. Tiny piece of cake here. And now, what about the age? So I have another piece of cake of different ages here. So we're gonna look and we're gonna see. So the biggest one is from 45 to 64. So Alabama was like, it was settled very early, back in the time, and they start to have kids and stuff. And in the past, many countries have a lot of kids. So your family may have 12 to 13 kids, and now these kids have grown up and been put apart. But now it's not as much. And this is 65 and over, this cake here. But of course, the second big piece of cake is this one. It's 25 to 44. And this is under 18, this piece. 65 and over, which is over 65 years old. And the smallest is 18 to 24. So yeah, because basically you see the years here. This is only about 6 years, so not quite a lot. And now we would watch a video. But since I think that we can watch it really later, so well, to watch this video, we're gonna go on YouTube. So I have this link here, and we're gonna watch a video about Alabama. So I'm just gonna copy the link. Now.
Okay.
So, instead of opening my old ones, I'm just gonna open a new one. It's off. And now we are going to watch it and see. So this is a video about Alabama. And another thing that you have to know is this picture here. You see that one? So Alabama was one of the states that make the rocket to the moon. So basically, that's the picture. And I'm going to press it here. I'm going to turn the volume.
Alabama has no official nickname, but in the 1940s, the Chamber of Commerce promoted the phrase, the heart of Dixie. to reflect the central role Alabama played in the history of the South. The name Alabama came from the local Indian tribes, which included the Creek and the Choctaw. When the Spanish explorer Hernando de Soto's expedition arrived in Alabama in 1540, it brought smallpox, measles, and other diseases that killed off large numbers of the Native Americans. In 1814, the Battle of Horseshoe Bend, led by Andrew Jackson, defeated the Creek warriors and marked the end of Indian life in Alabama. Alabama became the 22nd state on December 14, 1819. This was only a breather between conflicts. Alabama was the fourth state to secede from the Union on January 11, 1861, and the Civil War started a few months later. Major events in the Civil Rights Movement took place in Alabama. When Rosa Parks was arrested in 1955 in Montgomery for refusing to give up her seat on a bus to a white passenger, it led to the Montgomery bus boycott, organized by the Reverend Martin Luther King Jr. There were demonstrations for voting rights, including a 1965 march from Selma to Montgomery, which marked an important turning point in the Civil Rights Movement. Other Alabama landmarks include Tuskegee University in eastern Alabama. That's where genius botanist George Washington Carver discovered more than 300 uses for the peanut and more than 100 uses for the sweet potato. In the north, you'll find Rocket City, USA. That's Huntsville, Alabama, home to the U.S. Space and Rocket Center and the Marshall Space Flight Center. They developed the first rocket that took people to the moon, and their work has been essential for all our ongoing U.S. space missions. Also, very important, Space Camp.
Okay, so we have that now. I'm just gonna turn that here. Now, another things that I want to do is we're gonna find Alabama on the globe. I'm gonna teach you a lot of math skills here too. So we are just gonna look at globe. So, I have one right here. So, the first thing, when we find something on a globe, first we have to consider where is it? Like, the biggest one we can think is it's on Earth, but let's take a step smaller. Let's see where United States are. So, it's in North America, but here we are, United States. And now we're gonna start to go on to the smaller one, to finding Alabama. So, a tool to help, because this map, this globe, it does not mark everything. So, we're gonna have a helping hand. This one. So here's how we're gonna find it. First, we're gonna look closely at the map, and then we're gonna see United States here. So, for finding this one, we're gonna find some interesting trait near where Alabama works. So, let's see. This is too small, but this little thing here, kind of piece of land of Florida is kind of, poking out, and that's a clue to how we'll find. So looking at the map, I can see it here. Okay, so now, as we see, it's a bit like this, and so I'm thinking that Alabama is here. And there's a word Alabama right here. So Alabama is located about this point. Now we're going to look closer at the map of Alabama. Since I've taken an overview in my computer, but not giving you a closer look, now is the time to give you. So, to make it easier, I think I'm going to make this a bit bigger. And I'm gonna make it as big as possible. And as far as making it big, I'm gonna make it a bit close. I'm sorry if it doesn't go really well, but here's how it goes. So I'm opening it really large so that you can see. I'm just gonna cut this off so that we can be able to look. Alright, so let's get to the screen. You see here, but I think this picture is a bit fade, so I'm gonna open it at another file. Like that, I'm gonna try and open it at a new file. So, gonna get in here. I'm gonna get, now I have this map somewhere, oh, right. Here, now that we are here, I'm not sure if we can do it bigger. Anyway, we can do it with this. So now we see here, this is Alabama, and this is how we're doing a bit map reading. This is a bigger picture. So this is the whole United States and Alabama in this red tin square. And yes, Alabama is a bit like a rectangle. When you look from far, it's kind of a rectangle really. And this is a bigger view. So we have our 4 states around us. And as this tiny thing here, a star. So when you see a star, it means that it's kind of like the capital. We're gonna look and we're gonna see the super small tiny star. Okay, so I can see it here. This is Montgomery. It's kind of in the middle actually, so not too far. And yeah, so it's really tiny. And the blue lines and strips here are rivers and kind of water passageway and lakes and stuff. So you're gonna find this very often on a map. So here, there are a lot of these lines, and you can see the Mississippi and the Great Lakes and stuff. So that just kind of means it's some place that have water. Okay, so we have been seeing a lot today, and we have learned about Alabama. I almost forgot to close this one. So you might be sitting around all asking, what's the population here? So Alabama is quite big, actually. As I think to the size of Alabama, about this big, it's actually bigger than some country in the globe. But of course, its population isn't quite high. It's about 4.90 million. So it's 4 million and about 90,000. So that's this year. In 2010, it's approximately about 4,070,000. So we're just winging it and see how many it is. So that's the end of this Alabama lesson. Goodbye, and see you again in some other videos if I have.